Good morning, afternoon, good evening, good night, good day to you, depending where you are in the world. We're here live in London doing our nighttime devotion. It is Sunday evening, so I hope everyone had a good weekend. The devotion was called Conflict and Courage by Ellen White. The title today, Without Excuse. 1 Timothy 6, verse 10. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which, while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. How tenderly the Saviour dealt with him who was to be his betrayer. In his teaching, Jesus dwelt upon principles of benevolence that struck at the very root of covetousness. He presented before Judas the heinous character of greed, and many a time the disciple realized that his character had been portrayed and his sin pointed out, but he would not confess and forsake his unrighteousness. He was self-sufficient, and instead of resisting temptation, he continued to follow his fraudulent practices. Jesus dealt him no sharp rebuke for his covetousness, but with divine patience bore with this erring man, even while giving him evidence that he had read his heart as an open book. He presented before him the highest incentives for right doing, and in rejecting the light of heaven, Judas would be without excuse. Now, Satan is playing the game of life for every soul. He knows that practical sympathy is a test of the purity and unselfishness of the heart, and he will make every possible effort to close our hearts to the needs of others. He'll bring in many things to prevent the expression of love and sympathy. It is thus that he ruined Judas. Judas was constantly planning to benefit self. In this, he represents a large class of professed Christians today. Therefore, we need to study his case. We are as near to Christ as he was, yet as if with Judas, association with Christ does not make us one with him, if it does not cultivate within our hearts a sincere sympathy for those whom Christ gave his life, we are in the same danger as was Judas. We need to guard against the first deviation from righteousness. For one transgression, one neglect to manifest the Spirit of Christ opens the way for another and another, until the mind is overmastered by the principles of the enemy. If cultivated, the spirit of selfishness becomes a devouring passion, which nothing but the power of Christ can subdue. So for those of you listening, what do you think about that? Without excuse. Focusing once again as the last devotion on Judas. Judas spent enough time with Jesus to know and understand what is right and what is not right. He knew right from wrong. He knew, he didn't know that Jesus was not going to be the earthly ruler. But he did know that Jesus could do basically anything and everything, what we call miracles, bringing people back to life, healing people, letting them see, hear, however would ever work. But he was greedy. He was selfish. It was all about money, all about position, trying to stay close to the Christ so he could get a good position when Jesus took over the kingdom or the crown or the throne. But they didn't understand. They did not understand. And he stayed in his sin of the greed, of the selfishness, because he didn't understand. Did he want to understand? We do not know. But the fact is, he stayed in his sin, and that opened up the gate to more sin and more sin. Until, when cultivated, the spirit of selfishness becomes a devouring passion, which in the end it takes over you, and Christ cannot. So we, you and me, we have to watch that. Thank you for joining me, Pug Gaming 89. And for those of you watching also, thank you for joining. Drop a comment, leave a like, subscribe, click the bell, and tune in tomorrow. God bless you.